Isn't it odd though that I mean it's very clear Giannis loves Jrue Holiday, right? I mean
Yes. He
that's a
said
pretty strong.
yesterday at media day, he said he's the greatest person I've ever met.
I mean, like it's so
Damn.
clear how he felt.
Better than moms? Come on.
Yo, that's what I'm saying. And Giannis meets a lot of people. Like the greatest person I've ever met. Okay. All right.
Yeah, I mean, it's very clear though, right? That how he feels.
Yeah.
And yet it's probably his fault Jrue Holiday got traded.
I mean, it's absolutely impossible to
Facts.
untangle it, right? Like, how could you untangle the comments that he decided to make twice publicly this summer from the trade happening? There's no way. Whether or not John Horst was going to do this anyways, and John, like to his credit, is a very aggressive GM, and these are the kind of moves that he tries to make. You can't untangle it. You can't untangle those comments from this trade. So yeah, it's got to be like a really tough situation too. And like I've been trying to describe kind of the vibe at media day yesterday, and everyone is like so excited, right? Like this is amazing. We got Damian Lillard. I can't believe it. You know, two top 10 players in the league together in Milwaukee. Unbelievable. But then, like, you have that other side where it's like when you ask Giannis about it, he's like, yeah, the trade's really cool. But like Jrue was amazing. I love that dude. And you hear Chris Middleton talking about like, yeah, I got out of a workout, saw the trade, and my first reaction was like heartbroken that my brother, like the guy that we won this championship with, and if you think about Chris, like they go from winning a championship to getting on a private plane with Devin Booker, going to the
To
Olympics,
the
winning a
Olympics,
gold
yeah.
medal.
Yeah.
So like 2 weeks
On
of
like
his
2 days sleep.
yeah,
Right,
like
right, right, right,
the best 3 weeks of Chris Middleton's life, like
right.
undeniably, and he had a kid in there, so like all of that best 3 weeks of his life are Jrue Holiday right next to him. So
Mm.
it has been kind of weird because everyone's undeniably excited, and that for good reason, right? Like Damian Lillard is incredible. Him and Giannis together in the pick and roll is going to be ridiculous, but everyone on the team, or at least all the guys that are on the championship team, kind of had to deal with the fact like, whew, that guy, like that was our guy, and now he's gone, and it's kind of that bittersweet push and
But
pull
can't
that you kind
both
of deal
things
with.
be true, right? Like it was
For
very
sure.
clear watching this team that
Yeah.
perhaps it had peaked, right? And that's not shade to Jrue. I love Jrue. Like Drew's
Yeah.
incredible, but that team as constructed, especially when you put in the financial situation, right? Like that team had peaked. I mean,
And
so
they had
it,
to pick one, right? I
yeah,
mean,
yeah. And like you
Yeah.
said, the one with the most value outside of Giannis, obviously, was Jrue. So in a sense, like it almost is like, hey man, this is if these mergers happen, this is probably as ideal as it gets. You get together, you win a title, and you break it up before it gets bitter, before you
Right.
start hating, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, and it's
Yeah.
like, man, all right, we had a good run and we leave loving each other.
For
Like
sure.
that's pretty ideal, I would say.
Yeah. I mean, as far as like as the mercenary business goes in the modern NBA, that's a pretty successful mercenary trip, right? 3 years, win a championship the first year, you know, it ends on a bit of a sour note with the first round loss, but at least you can say, like, if you want to, be like, well, you know, Chris was hurt last year,
Yeah.
Giannis was hurt this year. So, you know, if those guys don't get hurt, maybe we do a three-peat. You can say that, like, that doesn't actually mean it would have happened, but like,
right.
at least
But
you
you
can
can,
say it, right?
yeah.
Like, you can have that kind of feeling. So
At
I agree with you.
minimum, you're a championship contender
Yeah,
for
you want
three
a chip.
years,
That's
right?
For
what,
Like,
three,
yeah,
but
yeah.
you want a chip with that guy. That's
one,
forever, right?
as far as everyone in Milwaukee is concerned, that banner is going to fly for as long as the city exists. Like, so yeah, I mean, it really is. It's tough, and I think it's even tougher just because everybody loves Jrue. Like, that's just the kind of dude he is, how great of a person he is, how much he kind of cares genuinely about other people. I think all of that made it more difficult. But to your point, Marcus, with Mike Budenholzer for 5 straight years, the Bucks contended for titles. And in the 4 seasons that they lost, the problem overwhelmingly was the fact that in the fourth quarter, it just got really hard. They couldn't get shots up. They couldn't get good shots. They couldn't make the shots that they got. the offense ground to a halt, and Jrue Holiday hit some big shots, right? Like in that 2021 run, he hit just enough, right? Like it'd be a 2 for 15 night, and then on shot number 16, it's a step back Jimbo against the Nets, and you're like, all right, cool, let's go. Because what else can you say at that? Like he's not afraid of the moment. He just missed a bunch of shots, and with Dame Lillard, that is a clear upgrade, right? Like in the first kind of like analysis story I wrote after it, like no one in the league takes more 30-foot 3-pointers than Dame. No one shoots a better percentage from 27 to 30 outside of Steph Curry, right? Like if you're talking about the history of basketball, I mean, there's an argument to be made. He's the second greatest 3-point shooter of all time. Like it's Marcus's man Steph Curry, and then it's Dame. Like that is the level of shooting. It's not just that like, oh, he's a threat off the dribble. He's capital THREAT threat.